So maybe you need to give us a little bit more about the preconditions under which DP can work.
Right, right. Well, let me say, yes, and indeed we have a lot more material that will try to address that, but just let me just say briefly, yes, there have to be choices, there have to be issues. You want to be able to gather an advisory group. The issues should be ripe in some way for decision by somebody, because it's no use gathering the people together and doing all this work if it's not going to result in anything, or the people don't want to feel that they're wasting their time. So if you've got one voice in a random sample of 250, 300, 400, whatever the number is, and you can say to them that these institutions will listen and take seriously their conclusions, then they feel empowered as opposed to one voice in millions on some issue. It also, the social preconditions, you want to be able to gather the people in safety. You want the conscientious collaboration of all the people involved so that you can train the moderators. You can have I mean, we've done this in cases I was going to show you even in Northern Ireland where there's a great deal of enmity. Nevertheless, we're able to get groups that don't get along and are even sometimes violent to have a dialogue. But it takes a lot of work to get the relevant stakeholders involved and to get the conditions right. So there are certain social conditions for doing this. We can deal with lack of literacy in various ways, but you do need to be able to gather a sample with civil dialogue, and if there's violence, or if, so there are a lot of different kinds of conditions necessary.
We are yet to identify the choices for which we are going to choose. Then probably we need to go through a process, an initial process that is not DP, another information gathering process
that
absolutely will enable us to get the choices. But we're at a level where we haven't yet identified the dimensions. Maybe
that's right. I agree with that.
So now we need to get a process.
Well, but if you know the area, what we normally do is we gather a stakeholder advisory committee that works on clarifying potential policy options, and that advisory committee generates options, maybe in light of, it could conduct focus groups as well, to see if the public might be ready to consider some of those options. But you want to bring the stakeholders and the public together on an agenda of a range of choices, but you have to, within your lab, consider what is your agenda and how that fits the stakeholder group and the public, and then you can create an agenda for a DP. But so very often, I mean, I've been focusing here on the process of convening the public, but convening the advisory group before that is very, very important. But that has something to do with whether the results will eventually be impactful and credible. So you need to get buy-in from the stakeholders on the issues that are selected, that they are interested in listening to the public on that issue. And there may be issues that nobody wants to listen to the public about, and that would be a warning sign about doing the project for that issue. I'm sorry, wait, you haven't said anything yet.
Okay. I think that from what we have been listening here, the deliberative democracy,
Deliberative polling,
polling is not appropriate for Africa. It's not. Why? Well, because it's appropriate where the free market works. When you have a lot of providers and a lot of consumers knowing what they are doing, expressing what they do. But here in Africa, it doesn't work. It's a market failure. So we need to work on it and find maybe the one like using experts. Using experts, like in the Bayesian thinking like you don't have representation. It's not compulsory to have representation. Use experts who know the problem. In Africa, we may have maybe using panel of people who know what they are talking about. But representativeness here doesn't, because in Africa we don't have one person, one vote. No, this is what you say.
No, I didn't.
Someone said it. Well, maybe what I'm proposing here, we can work on it. How do we work on strategy that can correct, can be appropriate in Africa, knowing that representativeness doesn't